USDA out with a weekly export sales report. We'll break those numbers down for you in just a moment as Brian Hoops will help us work our way through that report. It's one of the first reports in the next couple of trading sessions, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. How about corn? How did we trade in the overnight session? Mixed. Front month up 3/4 of a penny, 4.52, while new crop down a penny at 4.43.5. Over to the bean market, 7 3/4 higher on the May, 10.08 3/4. New crop 10.13.5, up 6 3/4. Wheat market, July, Chicago down 3 ticks at 5.50 1/4. Hard red, July is new crop up 2 3/4, 5.82. Spring wheat, December at 6.35 3/4, up 2 1/4. And in New York, cotton futures, December contract, 69.26, down 3. President, Midwest Market Solutions, is Brian Hoops. Brian, no flash sales that I saw overnight. However, the weekly export sales numbers are out.
Hey, good morning, Tony. They're pretty uninspiring and nothing that really is going to change the game of the markets this morning. Corn sales at about 40.9 million bushels, a very strong number. Soybeans at 12.4. It tells us, we're slowing down our exports for soybeans, but we're not seeing major cancellations. It's still above what we need to be averaging on a weekly basis to hit that USDA forecast. So really nothing wrong with that number. Last week, we saw a huge cancellation of wheat of the old crop, and mainly that was rolled from the old crop to the new crop category. Well, we've not seen that type of activity this morning. Only 3.7 million bushels of wheat sold in this old crop, and only about 500,000 bushel of new crop sales. So at least there's no cancellations, not really any big numbers either. It's going to be a disappointment for the wheat, I think, overall. As we look ahead to today's action, we're seeing a bounce in soybeans overnight. We found some technical support yesterday, and that carried through into yesterday's trade. And then we saw a little bit of a carry through in the overnight here. Now, the forecast for Brazil is a little bit drier. If the trade wants to believe that, I think we should see some of that corn market start to creep higher here as well, joining the soybean market higher. We're planting that second crop, the safrinha corn crop, and if that turns dry, that could be a big deal. That could mean a lot more usage or demand for U.S. corn, a lot more exports if they do have a reduced crop size in Brazil. So that is something really you have to watch going forward in here into April and into May. So we're going to start thinking about our planting season. We're going to start talking about the safrinha crop and growing conditions in Brazil. So there's going to be a lot of factors at play here very soon. It's very quiet right now, very limited market action. That's going to change relatively quickly in the weeks ahead in this corn and soybean markets.
Yeah, again, a couple of reports from USDA on Monday, grain stocks, and then that prospective plantings report. And then, just a couple of weeks before we get another WASDE report. So we're going to have a couple of weeks full of reports. Could that move the market?
Yeah, that's exactly right. These reports are going to be market moving. Plus, when you start talking about wheat coming out of dormancy, that's going to be something that trade will watch closely for any cold snaps and for rain. We start planting the corn crop here in the United States. I mean, Texas is planting aggressively now, but the rest of the country, when they start planting in 3 to 4 weeks, that's going to be something that that would move the market, as well as that weather in South America, particularly Brazil. Any rains there or lack of rains will get a lot of attention, as that's 80% of the corn that they grow has been planted and now subject to some weather issues. So not only do we have reports coming out here in the next 2 weeks, we have a lot of weather issues that will give us price direction here going very shortly.
All right, speaking of price direction, we'll take a break, but when we come back, we'll look at what direction cash prices and cattle are going. All right, hang on. Market Day Report continues in a moment. Cash cattle trade south 208, 213 in the north. Yeah, that's right. Now, haven't sold everything they haven't bought. The packers haven't bought everything they need to meet their their numbers yet. So the bids are 205, but the asking prices are 210, 212. Bit of a standoff. Okay, to the live cattle market. Higher yesterday. Front month up 70 at 207.07, while the feeders front month here, March down 17, 286.80. That April up $1.02, 285.87. And then over to the hog market. And let's see, hogs 2 days higher now, up 90 on the April, 87.55. All right, let's bring back in Brian Hoops, Midwest Market Solutions. Cash cattle, do they have enough to get through the week, or do they have to go back to the well here?
Yeah, well, I think we're going to see some cash trade developing today into Friday, and hopefully it's going to be at that higher money. I know trade is kind of banking on it, asking prices in that 212 area. That may be tough to get to, but I think you should be at least steady to slightly higher this week. Futures have had pretty good move. The cutout values are really jumping, especially that choice cutout is moving higher, and that's helping narrow those packer margins. They went from about $155 in the red earlier in the week to now $84 in the red. So it's a big improvement. Gives packers some margin to work with as they pay for that cash markets here yet today and into Friday ahead of the weekend. Our export sales, however, nothing great for beef. Only 8 million tons exported. Pork sales rebounded pretty decently. They're about 31.9. You have a quarterly hog and pig report. These reports probably are the least talked about things in the industry as far as reports go. There's estimates out for this afternoon looking at slightly larger numbers compared to a year ago. So that may limit the advance in that hog market today. We saw, I think, a decent bounce after that cold storage report earlier in the week. Now we're probably going to see some resistance or at least some struggle on rallies this morning because of the positioning ahead of that report.
All right, Brian, it's always great insight. Let's pick up our conversation again tomorrow. Again, Brian Hoops is with Midwest Market Solutions.